Hey,
Hey Sam, how you doing?
Adam, good to see you, man. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I got caught on another interview call.
Don't worry about it. It's pretty normal whenever I do interviews. It's I always expect 5-10 minutes either way with artists.
Okay, all
Depends
right.
on where the
I
call.
was trying to jump off. He was very nice though, and he was asking interesting questions, so I didn't want to shortchange him.
Yeah,
But
don't
thanks for
worry.
your patience.
Yeah, of course. So obviously want to have a chat about everything you've got going on at the minute. I know just
Sure.
kind of it's quite difficult to even keep up with you on socials. There's so much stuff happening. Every time I look, it's like, oh, she's now doing that, or she's out there. And so I kind of wanted to just have a bit of a catch up because it's been a little while.
Yeah,
So I guess I mean, just looking through the summer even, it's been an incredible summer for you. I mean, how's sort of this year been treating you so far?
it's been pretty rock and roll. Um, Had some pretty amazing gigs. We got to go on the Slash Serpent tour, and
Mhm,
Slash is like one of my guitar hero icons,
mhm,
from all the way back, and I just, it was a really cool experience. Um, and then we got to open for the Rolling Stones, twice this summer. We played at Jazz Fest, which we were part of the lineup that opened
mhm,
for the Stones, and then we actually got direct support at the Ozark show, their last show in the
mhm,
States.
mhm,
And yeah, I mean, other than that, like just kind of copious amounts of touring and just moving. I've got a bunch of stuff coming up that I'm really excited about, and just you know keeping it moving.
mhm. That's amazing. I mean, even just looking back at the start of the year, I mean, you start off the year by doing the Crossroads show in LA with Clapton. I mean, just to even say those words like Crossroads with Clapton is phenomenal. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
It was again like super humbling. I think I was so nervous about that whole thing, because I remember watching they came out with the one in 2008 on DVD, right? And I took that with me when I was recording the Girls with Guitars album back in like 2011, 2010. I remember watching it in my room, like, wow, this event, like if only I could ever, it was just a bucket list thing for me. I put it on this imaginary list in my head, and then to be invited to perform at it, it was kind of like, shocking and weird and humbling. And, um, it's just a beautiful thing. Like it's cool to see so many musicians come together for the singular purpose, and all the fans that come together. And, that event in particular was really about the celebration of the guitar. I felt like
Mhm.
it's very guitar centric, and it was just really special, and I was pretty honored to be a part of it.
hmm Like you said, I mean, Celebration of Guitar. I mean, just looking at that cover of Guitar World, I think it was with yourself and Slash and Kingfish. I mean, I looked at that, and
Yeah.
that was like a celebration of guitar. Even just seeing the three of you guys there together, but I was really curious about the Serpent too because I think that's such it's something a bit left field for Slash as well. I was really surprised when he sort of said, "Oh, I'm going to do this bluesy thing." I only just saw him
Yeah.
quite recently. He was playing over here with Miles Kennedy, but I was really jealous of the US that they got to experience this Serpent thing because I looked at it was like Lark and Poe and yourself and Chris Stone and Eric Gales and all these guys. I mean that really to me that looked like a celebration of guitar. I mean, what was that tour like for you?
Yeah.
And how did it work as well? I mean, I was quite curious. How did it actually work?
Well, so I mean, there was a ton of acts on the
Mm-hmm,
festival like the poster, right? I think every day it was kind of like the idea was to sort of set it up like a miniature festival,
mm-hmm,
where, it's got the same hours as a club show or, like an evening performance, but we're really packing in a lot of music. And so there were four acts a night, and the bulk of the time I was there was Eric Gales, us, Warren Haynes, and then Slash's band. And, we just played kind of it was almost like shorter teaser sets. It was a lot of changing, rotating and stuff. But I don't know. I think that kind of gave the audience, a lot of music, in in a reasonable amount of time.
mm-hmm,
But it was pretty cool. I felt like, it was a celebration of guitar, yes, but it was also a celebration of blues music because we were all coming together. You put out this blues record. Um, Most of the acts were kind of blues oriented or rooted in that. And I don't know, to me, it was like a celebration of the genre,
mm-hmm,
showcasing how diverse it is,
mm-hmm,
and I thought that was really cool and really smart of him, of Slash, to do that because, he's a big blues fan. He loves, he's talked about it a lot. Like it's something that shaped his playing. And, I thought it was a cool way to kind of pay homage to something that's special to him, and to bring all these different artists together. It was a diverse musical showing for sure.
Mhm. So, I mean, obviously, you kind of wrapped up the tour with Jesse a little bit early this year as well. I know you're out in Australia, and I got to see that show when you played here in York. I think was the nearest gig you did to me, and I mean that was such a great show as well. I mean, to see you guys play together, and I mean, obviously, you both kind of bring something a little bit different, and you're showcasing your different musical styles. I mean, what was that tour like for you? I mean, to kind of hit the road with Jesse.
I mean, it was great. It was something different for me personally because I've been doing my solo tour for, my whole existence as a
Mhm,
musician and really since Girls with Guitars. So to go back into this collaborative setting, I don't know, it just to me it just was like let's put on an amazing show. Uh, we've got each other to play off of. It's this different dynamic. That I hadn't really had the opportunity to explore, and it was just really cool. I mean, it was special. It was nice to be able to change my perspective. Where it's like I'm doing all the heavy lifting, and at this point, it was kind of cool to like you know, get to back somebody up on guitar,
mhm,
and think about my role in the band in a different way. Playing different parts. I mean, as a musician, it was just cool to stretch in that way and think about harmonies. It's like not all just me, 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 me 100%
mhm,
of the time. It's cool. And then, figuring out how to sing duets together and working on elevating each other. And when you elevate each other, you elevate the whole show.
mhm.
I thought it was special and cool, and also it's fun to have another guitar player to play off of. I never play with other guitar players in my band, so
So, I mean, obviously now that that's kind of done and dusted, I guess. I mean, have you left it at a place where you think like maybe you guys would want to do something again in the future? I know you've done a couple of things now. You did the EP and then you did the album. I mean, is
yeah,
there any kind of, oh, that was nice. Like, let's maybe, let's revisit or touch base at some time in the future. Is it?
yeah. I mean, the way I feel about it, I feel like we left it on really good terms. I feel like we did it for the appropriate amount of time that, like, I feel like it was it's sort of like there's people now complaining because they didn't get to see the show, and I'm like, well, don't sleep on us if we come around next time because it's a limited thing, it's special.
Mhm,
But we have talked about, will we revisit this down the road? And I think it's gonna. I mean, I say 100%. I'd love to. It just depends on everybody's availability.
mhm,
Where's he going to be at? Is he going to be in the middle of an album cycle? Where am I going to be at? Am I going to be doing? Am I going to be? It's just a matter of like it was hard to make stars align the first time, but
mhm,
I think it'd probably be a little easier the second time. We'll see.
mhm. And on
Yeah.
the subject of working with like other artists, I noticed that you're going to be doing something as part of the Roof, 30th anniversary celebration tour with Mitch Ryder, which again that's another kind of interesting sort of collab type of approach. And
Yeah.
I did interview Mitch quite not that long back. He's a really interesting guy to chat to. He's got some great stories, and
I'm sure.
he was like the last person to ever perform with Otis Redding, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they shared the stage just before Otis tragically passed. But yeah, I just wondered, I mean, how's that going to work this time around? I mean, have you had time to think about that yet, or because it's coming around, isn't it? It's November, I think.
Yeah, it's coming around. I mean, I kind of anticipate I'm really at this point where I'm just trying to handle one thing at a time. Um, I've got a Hendrix tour coming up here that I'm like, okay, so once I get past that, then we got the UK and Europe, and then that's the Roof tour. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it because Roof is I mean they gave me my start. Thomas gave me my start. I don't know where the hell I'd be today without Thomas and Roof Records, and I had some incredible freedom on that label to stretch and make albums that were, you know, uh, really expressive for me, where I think maybe a lot of labels would be like, wanting more artistic control. And Thomas really lets people be free to be themselves to their to their success and their detriment. I think he just wants the artist to be the artist. And I don't know. I feel like that really gave me such a freedom and a start. And so I'm happy to be a part of this tour that honors the label. And it's really, it's just about bringing great artists together in
Mhm.
a on one night where it's like you're never going to see these people play together again.
Mhm.
It's kind of it's super special. But yeah, I mean, we got Galia Volt, there's gonna be Canned Heat and Bernard Allison,
Mhm.
and then us and Mitch Ryder, and it's gonna be a special night. I don't know what the hell it's gonna look like yet, but
Mhm.
I'll find out. So so I'm sure it'll be great.
I mean, you mentioned their experience, Hendrix, which again is like a phenomenal tour. I'm very lucky I did get to see it once. I saw it I was in St. Louis when it passed through St. Louis a few years ago, and I got to see it. It was like
Yeah.
Buddy Guy and Zach Wild and all these amazing people. I mean, how much are you looking forward to that, and like how much would you say Hendrix has been sort of influence or inspiration to you as a guitarist?
I'm really looking forward to it. It's a little bit like to be honest, when I first started playing guitar, I go out a lot to different I go around the scene and sit in and play. And I of course, you listen to a lot of Hendrix and who's the other blues guitar heroes like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I had just, when I was young, I started noticing like a lot of people pulling inspiration from those great guitar players. So at a point, I kind of stepped away and tried to find other influences. And so now coming back to revisit something, that I think had a stronghold on me when
Mhm.
I was, younger,
Mhm.
and I still love listening to it. It's a little intimidating to go and be like, okay, now I have to like figure out how to do this material justice,
Mhm.
and I'll do it my way. I'll find a way, but like it's a little intimidating because he's I mean, such an iconic player. People have expectations,
Mhm.
so it's like I got to figure out how to deliver in a way that you know meets the needs of the people.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's funny you were talking before about like Ruth giving you the sort of break in the beginning because just a couple of days ago it came up in my news feed like a Facebook memory thing, and it was a picture of me and you and Mike Zito and Cyril Neville at the Flower
Yep.
Pot in Derby. Which was like right, I think it was maybe like one of your first tours over here. It was really like early on. And I remember that night it was like Royal Southern Brotherhood and yourself. And so I mean you've been coming here for quite a long time now, and I
Yes.
wondered like how much is the sort of how much is the UK like an important market for you? Like how do you feel like it's a bit of a home away from home a little bit?
I mean, I feel like the UK is hard. I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to level with you. The UK is a hard place to break in and get attention.
Mhm.
And I think I mean, what I chalked it up to, because I remember the first couple times I went over there. You said that was the first time I was over there. That was not the first time I was over there. I came over there and suffered. We had a hard time, and it was just really, I feel like, because when the UK, it's like a tastemaker place,
Mhm.
When you get people's attention over there, you're doing something. And it's really hard to get their attention and
Mhm.
and once things started happening over there, I had this kind of epiphany about, what it means to do well in the UK. It's not
Mhm.
an easy feat.
Mhm.
And I just chalk it up to y'all have like pretty high standards in music taste.
Mhm.
So but it means so there the answer is it means a lot.
Mhm.
It means a lot.
And so obviously you're coming back. It's very soon. It's going to come around pretty quickly. I mean, how much are you looking forward to getting back over here this time? I mean, obviously you were here recently with Jesse, but this time coming back, doing the whole bulletproof thing, and what's the show going to look like this time around, do you think?
So this is the first time I've ever put a show together that wasn't like, you know, um part of an album cycle,
Mhm.
where I had a new show to sort of new music. Like we did that with Jesse. Right now I'm currently working on something new, but these things take time.
Mhm.
So this is the first time in my career that I've gone out on tour and been like, all right, what am I going to play? It's like, well, you have a lot of albums to pull from. So it's kind of exciting because I get to reimagine older material, put together a show that like, encompasses my favorites, some fan favorites, some just really put together the best show possible from the material that I've worked so hard on my entire career.
Mhm.
And it's sort of fun because like I'm looking back at these songs that like, maybe I haven't played in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever years. And it's like they have a new meaning because I've lived through the thing I wrote about.
Mhm.
which it's just it gives you a new perspective. And also I've got a new band to reimagine them with, and it's just very it's cool, but that's kind of where it's at. I'm going to put together a blues rock and roll show that you'll you're going to have a ball at, and you really shouldn't miss. So,
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, like I said, you're playing here in Newcastle this time. You're playing at the
yeah.
Coffee Shop, which is I don't think you've played that room before, but it's a really beautiful old venue. It's got a lot of history. It's like an old warehouse with like natural skylight, and it's very
Oh,
vibey.
really?
Yeah, it's a really cool spot. I think you'll kind of freak out when you see it. It's pretty cool. Um, so I mean, aside from the touring, also you've got this new EP I think coming out this week. Crowd Control EP, and there's some live tracks and stuff like that. Just maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, that's my record label. They're lovely, and we've been just trying to, like, to be honest with you, I feel like everybody has shorter attention spans anymore, me included. And so I feel like it's important to, give people music to listen to.
Hmm.
And we had these live recordings, and the record label had this idea to start releasing them and just kind of, give the fans something to listen to, something to look forward to, like while I was between album cycles. And we have quite a few lined up, which I'm just excited about because, everybody's been on me for years to do a live record, and I've been trying, but if I can't do one right now, that this is the best next thing for sure.
Hmm. And of course, like you said before about the Stones, and I mean, like just to share the stage with a group like that, I mean, it's like it's beyond bucket list. It's kind of like, I mean, how did that opportunity come about, and what was it like, that day, to go out on that stage, the same stage as those guys, and did you get to watch them or did you get to meet them? Was there any kind of encounters or anything like that?
This thing has been in the works for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, something like that. Quint Davis at Jazz Fest in New Orleans reached out to me years ago when they originally were going to book them for the 50th anniversary of Jazz Fest, and he called me and said, "I want you to be on the same stage as them." And he worked so hard. Like I I owe a lot to Quint Davis at Jazz Fest. He really wanted that to happen, and like I can't believe he worked for years to continue to make it happen, because what happened originally was the Stones had to cancel, and then he finally got them back this last year, and he kept his word. He said, he was like, "I told you I'd put you on the same stage," so he brought me into that. Um, and honestly, it was then Quint Davis again who continued to, like, he told one of their tour publicists, "If you guys add any extra dates, you should really have this artist come and open for them." And he stayed on him, man. And then they added the extra date, and he kept after him, and they called me. So that's how that happened. It was kind of a crazy thing. Um, as far as the day of show, the run-ins, it was sort of like it was chaos, it was a hectic day. I mean, we flew in from the West Coast to the Ozarks to do this show. It was in the middle of another West Coast tour. I'm never one to be pushy and want to, like, force myself to meet somebody. If every time I've ever done that historically, it's been a disaster. I'm just, so I'm a little shy. I just try to go out there and put on my show and let my performance speak for itself. And if the stars align and I get to shake somebody's hand, then that's a beautiful thing. But I was not going to force a handshake and then perhaps something terrible would happen. You know what I mean? So I I had a great time. I didn't meet him, but I think Keith Richards gave me a thumbs up. So
There you go. That's
that's pretty awesome.
it doesn't get a
I'll hold
highest.
on to that.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more of a highest sort of seal of approval than a thumbs up from Keith Richards.
Yep.
But I guess the last question I got for you really, Sam, is just aside from, what you just mentioned, all this touring, I mean, do you kind of have this sort of the rest of this year mapped out and into next year? Are you already sort of planning ahead? Do you know what's kind of on the agenda? Anything that you can share with us which hasn't already been marked as sensitive?
I don't know what I'm allowed to share. I feel like I always ruin surprises by announcing things too early. I'm glad you knew about the roof tour. I was like, I think they just announced that. I know we've got another really cool tour in December that we're waiting to announce, and I don't want to ruin anything, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Yeah, no, there's some really cool stuff coming up next year. I'm not allowed to say anything. I'll get like the rug will be ripped out from under me. I'm very careful about what I say just because I feel like every time I get excited about something that I think is going to come when I talk about it, it goes away.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to zip it up. You'll see. And so will I. So,
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to whatever is in store. But that's great. Well, thank you so much for the time. It's always lovely to chat to you. And ironically, I noticed you're wearing your John Spencer shirt. I'm going to see him tomorrow
oh,
night.
yeah.
He's playing in Newcastle here tomorrow night, so I'm going to
Are
see.
you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
tell him I said hi.
yeah. He's playing here tomorrow, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you so much for the time. Obviously, it's always lovely to catch up, and yeah, I'll see you here in Newcastle in a few weeks' time, whenever it is. It's coming around soon. But have a great rest of your
Okay.
day, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks, Ad.
Thanks, Sam. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.